following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
All right. Hello, everyone. It's a surprise. Leonard Cardinelli here instead of Brian Shapiro. Welcome to the Pushing the Limits radio show. Your usual host, Brian Shapiro, is not here today. He was invited to be on the Piers Morgan show, and I'm sure he'll be posting that online later today. My name is Leonard Cardinelli. I'm a retired 25-year police lieutenant, former union president, a Nevada legislative lobbyist, and I'm here to fill in for Brian. The regular listeners may recognize me. I'm here 2 or 3 days a week co-hosting with Brian. This is his show, and he was nice enough to ask me to fill in for just for the day. He also has a charity golf tournament that he's going to, and this weekend Brian will be in D.C. at the Culture War Live in D.C., and he'll be one of the few, I guess you could say, center-left guests that will be debating with several others openly in public. So I know Brian gave away some tickets, so we have some listeners going there, and it's going to be very exciting. What are we doing today? So today we're going to start off with I'm going to talk a little bit about Louisiana and what happened there with the redistricting, and then we'll get into some clips. We have a lot of clips, and we'll get into a conversation about that a little bit. And then later on, we'll be taking your phone calls. So don't forget to call in. It should be a little later in the show. After we wrap it up, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll get back to some phone calls. And we want you to call. We want to hear your questions, your comments, your concerns. We want to know what you think about what's actually going on out there. So try to be patient with me. This is a new experience for me, and I'm going to try to get through it and do the best I can. But let's start in Louisiana. So it has to do with redistricting, civil rights, the Civil Rights Act of 1965. Louisiana has 7 congressional districts. Black population's about a third of the population, and 1 congressional district has a majority of black voters and voted in black elections presented to Congress. So there was a lawsuit. My notes were a little messed up. There was a lawsuit a couple of years ago where they granted Louisiana a 2nd congressional district, which is majority of black people. So 6 white plaintiffs brought a case against the black voters who live in the district. The purpose of drawing the majority black district is diminished, and the voting strength of some racial groups and augment the voting strength of others. So what we have is a lawsuit that is looking to change the fact that Louisiana has 2 majority black minority voting districts. And as you know, redistricting is usually done every 10 years when it's done with the census. And the Republicans have decided to do it a little bit early. And Texas started with, changing 5 congressional seats, changing their map. California countered. There's a vote coming up, Proposition 50 in California, where Governor Newsom has presented. I said Obama because Obama's been pushing Proposition 50, and they want to vote yes on it so we can do the redistricting, which would get us probably 5 additional seats in California. Going back to Louisiana, the Supreme Court is involved, and they will hear the case. And Justice Roberts has kind of leaked his opinion. He said that he believes that it can be possibly overturned, and if it's overturned, it would not do away with the Voting Civil Rights Act of 1965. What it would do is kind of make it so that the black districts were less powerful. So what happens in redistricting is you have 2 opportunities. You can either redistrict those districts that are mostly minorities and spread it out, or you can take some of those minorities and move them into a different district so you have more power in that same district. So I think that it's going to be a landmark case. So far, it doesn't look good. I think they're hearing arguments on it today. And so that's something to keep an eye on because that can affect the whole country. And even though it's happening in Louisiana, I think it's important that we talk about it here. Next, we're going to get to our clips, and let's go ahead and start with the first one. Numchuck is our producer today, and I say we get right to it.
An announcement today. It's the announcement in the U.S. that was made in the Knesset yesterday. I'm proud to tell you that together with my friend Speaker Ohana of the Israeli Knesset, the equivalent of our Congress, we're going to embark upon a project together to rally speakers and presidents of parliaments around the world so that we will jointly nominate President Donald J. Trump for next year's Nobel Peace Prize. No one has ever deserved that prize more, and that is an objective fact. As Speaker Ohana said before the Knesset yesterday, quote, "Whoever saves one life, it is though he has saved an entire world." That's what some of the rabbis there would say, some of the sages he noted would say. It's an indisputable fact that no president has undertaken the work of saving lives and pursuing peace with such determination and with such remarkable success as President Trump. And under his leadership, we are witnessing the dawn of a new golden age, not just for America, but for the entire free world. The world is changed by these actions and strong leadership. American strength is good for free people around the world, as we say always, and peace through strength is maintained.
So let me start with one of Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, quotes, "No one has ever deserved that prize more, and that is an objective fact." I don't believe it's an objective fact. Trump is claiming that there's peace in the Middle East. Now, if you looked at the reports overnight, IDF has engaged with several personnel, and I assume they are Palestinians on the ground. People were shot. They have reports in Al Jazeera of Hamas fighters going door to door, pulling people out of their homes, executing them in the streets. These are the people that kind of took the leadership positions when they weren't around. There's really not peace. Israel said today that they're thinking about stopping the food supply because all of the dead bodies have not been returned. There's supposed to be 28 bodies that should have been returned as part of the agreement. The first day they sent 4 bodies. The second day they hesitated, and then I believe yesterday or today sent another 4 bodies, one of which was not involved and reported to not be one of the hostages. 7,000 fighters from Hamas have gone back into Gaza, and they are on the ground, and there's a dividing line. There's an imaginary line between the IDF forces and Hamas on the ground, and tensions are high. I would say that's not peace. 92% of all homes on the Gaza Strip have been destroyed. 60% of all structures on the Gaza Strip have been destroyed, and it looks terrible. It looks like a war zone. It's completely flattened. It's unlivable conditions. And what about the 1.5 million people that live on the Gaza Strip? The Palestinians, what are they going to do with them? That has not been settled. Is Hamas going to come back into power? Hamas, part of the agreement, in the second phase, Hamas is supposed to disarm and I guess just go away and not be an organization anymore. I really don't see that happening. Also, is the Palestinian Authority wants to start to take over rule. Is anyone going to allow that to happen? And because Hamas was slow in sending, because Hamas was slow sending back the bodies of the dead hostages, Israel cut their food supply in half. This was a couple of days ago. They went from 6,000 tons to about 3,000 tons. And so now they're threatening to cut off all food supply if they don't get the bodies back, because that's what they agreed to. So when Mike Johnson is talking to what amounts to the Speaker of the House of Israel, and they are trying to make a deal to go to other countries and have everyone send in their vote, have their own vote for who gets the Nobel Peace Prize, it just doesn't make much sense to me. I just don't see where he's going with that. It sounds like I guess, can we say bootlicking? We're allowed to say that? And it sounds like trying to appease someone and just keep one person happy. Generally, most people do not nominate themselves for a Nobel Peace Prize. When Obama got it during his term, it was just it was for all of his work in the world and all the peace he brought and all the good deeds that he did. And I think that there's a possibility that Trump is interested in getting the Nobel Peace Prize because Obama had received it and he wants to keep pace with him. And Trump hates Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. We'll get into that later. And so I wanted to play this clip because Mike Johnson is saying that Trump has changed the entire world. But when you change the entire world and you want the Peace Prize, you're supposed to bring peace. We don't even have peace in our own country. If you look at Portland, if you look at what's going on in Chicago, and we'll get into that later. If you look at what's going on, you can't really say this is a peaceful country. And what happened to America First? What happened to the America First? And we're going to be the most important, and we'll get into the money that Trump is sending to Argentina and the reasons for that. And let's go segue from there into clip 2.
Situations happening with your team in Egypt right now over your proposed peace plan. It was reported by Axios over the weekend that you had called Prime Minister Netanyahu, where you told him to stop being so negative and to take a win when it came to Hamas's response to that. Is that true?
No, it's not true. He's been very positive. He's been very positive on the deal. Everybody is. I think every nation is. We have just about every nation working on this deal and trying to get it done. Something that you could say 3,000 years if you look at it in certain ways, or you could say centuries, but this is a deal that incredibly everyone just came together. They all came together. No, Israel's been great. They've all been good, Caitlin.
And in the negotiations.
So that was a clip, if you couldn't hear it quite well, that was a clip of Trump answering questions, I believe, in the Oval Office, and he was asked if he told Netanyahu to make this deal. And he claims he did not. I don't believe that for a second. I think he told him that in order for Netanyahu to stay in power, because he's losing power and he's losing votes and he was losing support because he couldn't get the hostages back, that they needed to, at the minimum, get the hostages back because that was the next step in keeping Netanyahu in power. And he says, everybody, we have just about every nation. We've been working on this deal. You could say 3,000 years. I don't know where the 3,000 years came from because I believe Israel started to become occupied in the 1960s. I don't remember exactly what date. So I don't know if that conflict, if it goes back that far. Maybe he's talking about the conflict with Iran because they used to be Persia. And I don't know. He said you could look at it certain ways and it goes back very far. And it does go back a long time. And there's been a lot of war and it's a war-torn part of the world. And but as far as bringing peace, I really don't see it. I really don't see how they could call what occurred peace. Let's go to 3.
Special Counsel Jack Smith is speaking publicly for the very first time about his investigations into Donald Trump, defending his team and his prosecutors and saying it's ludicrous to say the investigations of the president were politically motivated.
The just incredible high level of integrity and competence and willingness to sacrifice to the people who do this work. And I'm talking about the people I worked with in the special counsel's office, but the Department of Justice in the U.S., the FBI, are filled with people like this. And these are people who are not self-promoters. They do not like to tell their own story. They cannot start a sentence with I. They start that with we. These are team players who don't want anything but to do good in the world. They're not interested in politics. And I get very concerned when I see how easy it is to demonize these people for political ends, when these are the very sort of people I think we should be celebrating.
So Jack Smith, special counsel, prosecuted Trump. He's trying to explain. He's under a lot of pressure right now but he's trying to explain how these organizations work. And I come from, a public police department. That's where I worked. And the greater majority of the men and women that work there show up every day and they're doing their jobs. And let's say, for example, you work in the Detective Bureau. I never worked in the Detective Bureau, but I did a lot of complex investigations and spent a lot of time on investigations myself and with others. So if you're assigned by your bosses to conduct an investigation and it's into a former president and it results in charges, you should not expect retaliation for just doing your job. And so when Trump talks about weaponizing the Attorney General's office, weaponizing the FBI, he's not talking about Biden. He's not talking about anybody from the past. He believes that he should be able to go after his political rivals. And I think it was incredibly brave for Jack Smith to step out. And he's been speaking publicly. He's been on I saw him on MSNBC. I don't know if he was on Fox. He was on News Nation. He was on BBC, CNN. So everyone is covering him. And, he's right in the middle of a real nasty conflict. So kudos to him for speaking up. But I believe that the men and women who work every day in the Attorney General's office, the FBI, the Department of Justice, I believe that those people go to work every day for the right reasons. And he talked about them being a team. No one starts their sentence with I. It's always we. We conducted this investigation. We did the reporting on it. We brought the charges. The people don't have that attitude of saying I. And so I think that's important. Let's go to the next clip.
You guys are framing this like the president wants to take over the American cities with the military.
We should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military. Last month I signed an executive order to provide training for a quick reaction force that can help quell civil disturbances. So this is going to be a big thing. It's the enemy from within. We have to handle it before it gets out of control. They like to say, you're not allowed to use the military. We haven't even started yet.
So President Trump talking about the enemy from within. And if somebody wants to call and tell me who he means by the enemy within, I have no idea. When you're elected president in the United States of America, you represent both sides. You may not like the Democrats. You may not like people who are on the left. You may not like their policies. You may not like how they treat you. You may not like the lack of support, but that doesn't give you the right to, and he's basically admitting that he's declaring war on them and he's sending the military into the American cities. And he's saying he's just getting started. He said, he admitted, he didn't say who, but he said people have told him, you're not allowed to use the military. And what they're talking about is that's a violation of the Constitution. You can't use the military to police America. Now, there are certain conditions. If we're attacked, if we're being bombed, if people are taking over in the streets, if there's a lot of danger to Americans, yes, you have some leeway. But right now, they're just shutting down protesters. They're from what I've seen on TV, now I don't know the whole story, but from what I've seen, they're just arresting people for protesting. In fact, I saw a video earlier of a friend of the show, Robbie Roadsteamer, and a good guy. He goes out to these rallies. If you've seen him, he dresses up like a dinosaur or a frog or a giraffe this time. And he has a little microphone and he plays music and he wears a little, speaker around his chest. And he goes by the ICE agents and he just exercises his First Amendment right to play music and to protest and sing songs. And, he's pretty pointed. He doesn't get in their face. He doesn't intimidate them. He doesn't, try to compromise their safety. He's just there, and there's a video on social media, and I don't know all the circumstances, and I don't know what he was arrested for, but he was surrounded by ICE agents and brought into the facility. So we are okay. I guess we're going to play some of that too, so you can actually hear what happened. But a good friend of the show, good guy, and I guess there'll be more information coming out on that in the coming days.
It's about peace and love. It's about rock and roll. It's fight of life. people, and you are a Nazi. Come on, Ice, leave Portland. Yeah, why don't you come out? You're super soaker. Oh, here they come, the North.
Arrested? Not yet, right? Yeah. So that's Robbie Roadsteamer, and as you can see, he's out on the sidewalk. He's dressed like a giraffe, and he's kind of clowning. And there's other people there with the inflatable suits they're wearing now, the frogs and the bunnies and Pikachu and stuff like that. And so he's out there protesting or singing his little songs, and then a group of would look like ICE agents, because I would have to assume they're ICE agents because they don't identify themselves anymore. They don't think they have to. As a matter of fact, if you go up, there's many videos where you go up, people go up and ask them, say, who are you? Who are you with? I don't have to tell you. And they have masks on. And I can tell you, as a former law enforcement, if we were told to do that, or if it was implied that we were going to go out with masks and no identification and not identify ourselves and not tell people what they're arrested for and throw them in vans that are not marked, I wouldn't have done it. I would have said, no, I'm not, I did not become a police officer to do that kind of, it's almost like thuggery, I guess you could call it. So that is not something that I would agree with and I would never do. So good luck to Robbie. Maybe he'll come on the show. I'm sure we'll reach out to him. Maybe we can get him on the show and he can run the whole story down to us and he can tell us what actually happened. And then I would like to know what happened after he was brought inside. Was he actually booked? Was he charged? Or did they just take him into custody and then kick him loose? And if there were charges, what were the charges? Because I didn't see any laws being broken. I watched the video. It's a short video, but I watched and I don't see any laws being broken. I don't see any reason why they would take him into custody. He did use the N-word, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but it's possible. How about the next clip?
A tense moment unfolding in front of Chicago public school students. ICE agents near an elementary school and playground throwing tear gas canisters after an immigrant's arrest. The smoke and the gas filtering onto school property while students nearby were playing and learning. Now community members are banding together to protect those children, ensuring they can come and go safely while the immigration crackdown continues here in Chicago.
Ever since the moment those tear gas canisters hit the ground, a new line of protection surrounds Chicago public school students. Armed with whistles and Know Your Rights pamphlets, these community volunteers call themselves the Guardian Angels. Together, they secure the perimeters of elementary, middle, and high school students in the Second City.
Nobody has capes on, right? Nobody, has some special, abilities.
When the call for help went out, 500 community members stepped up, filling more than 1,000 shifts at nearly 100 schools on the northwest side of the city, ensuring these students can come to class for an education without fearing the possibility of a confrontation with ICE.
These are volunteers who are of the community, made by this community, and working hard every day to protect the community.
And the Guardian Angel movement continues to grow. Volunteers are showing up in droves daily at school pickups and drop-offs all across Chicago, protecting the most innocent among us.
Okay, so that's in my view, was a good view into a slice of America. So we have this neighborhood attacked by ICE agents and gas. The gas goes into the schoolyard and toward the school and the children. And the residents are so concerned that they actually get together and they decide that they're going to, they have community volunteers. They're called the Guardian Angels. 500 community members stepped up to fill 1,000 shifts in 100 schools. And they also mention that they're there to protect the perimeter and make sure that these ICE agents are not coming into the schools while the children are there. And this just goes to show how much America has deteriorated. Donald Trump said it's the hottest country ever. I don't know what Trump is talking about. When you look at America, I certainly don't, and a lot of people I speak to don't even recognize America anymore. I mean, who's un-American in this scenario? In my opinion, Americans are people who respect civil rights. They respect workers' rights. They respect the Bill of Rights. They respect voting rights. These are the people that are true Americans. And I would ask, is the other side un-American? Is that what it really comes down to? Is this Americans against people who are un-American? Because I can tell you right now, a lot of Republican friends that I have are MAGAs. When I talk to them, they immediately go to the border because they think they win on that issue. And they've shut the border down and they're not allowing anyone in. 70% of people in America, around 70%, agree that we should not let people come into the country illegally. However, another 78 to 80% believe that it's being done in an incorrect manner, that people who do not identify themselves go out on the street in unmarked cars, covering their faces, and they're taking away grandmothers and mothers. We've all seen the videos online if you look at social media, and they take these people away, and often the families can't find out where they are and who took them. They start making phone calls and they say, well, we're not sure which agency took them into custody. We're not sure who it was that took them into custody. Now, international law allows for refugees to come to this country and ask for asylum. That's international law. And so when people come here, they can request asylum. They can request they can assert themselves as a refugee, and there are certain visa programs and citizen programs. But what the Republicans want, what the MAGAs want, is a complete shutdown. They don't want anybody to come into the country ever again. That's kind of where they stand. But where's the humanity? Where's the compassion for other people? Where's the empathy for their issue? That's what America was about. That's what it's been built on. And I think a lot of people agree that the immigrants who are here illegally, the undocumented ones, should be held to account. But when they go for their court hearing, when they're tracked down and they give them a court hearing and they're going to go in front of the judge, they have ICE agents waiting in the entryway. And even though these immigrants are showing up with their attorney, they're getting arrested anyway. And their case is not even being heard. So treating people humanely and with the rights that they have, I don't mind them making contact. I don't mind them trying to find out who's here illegally, but to just have a squad of people, like a military secret police that just goes out and takes people into custody and no one knows what happens to them, and families can't find them, and in many cases they're deported before anyone's even contacted. So they're out of the country and they're gone. So when we talk about ICE using gas near schools and children, are they really doing what's best for America? Is that really America, or is that un-American? That's really the question. We're not asking for people to be allowed to be in this country illegally. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is let's give them due process. We're saying that they have rights. The Constitution says any person, not any citizen, when it refers to the people and who has the rights. And by the way, the Republicans are trying to do away with birthright citizenship. Even as we speak, they're trying to do away with it. So it's a very serious situation, and it's going to take some time to work through. But don't give up. Stay strong. It looks like a lot more people are standing up to the politicians these days. It looks like a lot more people are being vocal. It looks like a lot more people are willing to put themselves on the line. And don't forget, October 18th, and we'll get to this later in a clip, October 18th is No King's Day. And Mike Johnson's called it the Hate America Day, but it's not. It's a bunch of Americans who decided that they want to get together and they want to make sure that the message is sent that we are not a dictatorship, we are not an authoritarian society, and they're going to go and protest. The protest is planned to be peaceful, and I would imagine there's going to be a lot of people in inflatable suits who are dressed up as frogs and giraffes and bunnies and not causing any trouble, just asserting their First Amendment rights. And if violence starts, we do not condone it. And if anyone's listening who's going to the rally, don't resort to violence. Don't do that kind of stuff. Let's see. Let's go to the super chat real quick. We have Laura Villalobos says, Leonard, you're doing a great job for Brian. Thank you, Laura. That is so nice. It's interesting because when I'm in studio with Brian, we interact, and we feed off each other. But having to just, straight talk by myself is a little bit different. But I'm getting used to it. So moving on to the next clip. Oh, I did say, okay, that just popped up. Alexa Gibson says the government is shut down. People are losing their medical care, losing the government benefits, and they're talking about a Nobel Peace Prize. Exactly. And is that a distract? And maybe it's a distract from Epstein. Maybe it's a distract from Medicare and medical coverage. And we have clips on both. So we are going to get to those subjects. And thank you, Alexa, for your contribution. This is an independently run radio station, and they rely on, in part, on donations. So don't be afraid to give whatever you can do.
Cost.
Next clip.
I don't think that the American people should bear that burden today, but we have to repeal and replace this program. It has never worked.
With
the
what?
costs have gotten out of control,
with what?
and the American people feel it.
So,
I think
with
the
what? Hold
overall.
on. Wait, Congress, I'm sorry. I know we get cut off because we're remote and we're talking over each other. I don't mean to do that, but I do want to be very, very clear for the American people. Replace it with what? And do you have the time, given that there is right now the heat felt by Americans, particularly federal workers, but also Americans facing this end of the year ending and expiration? Is there the time to replace it in a way that does not impact everyday Americans who need the health care?
Well, a couple of things. One, you can replace it with getting rid of a lot of the regulatory requirements of the Affordable Care Act. What Obamacare did, it basically required every American in the exchange to be able to cover just about every medical procedure possible. One of the big flaws is that young people do not actually take these plans the way they originally said that they would because the plans are too expensive. So young people are saying, I'll pay the fine. I'm not going to go and pay these extraordinary premiums and even higher deductibles for a health insurance policy I'm not going to touch. So you have to actually get rid of the regulatory burdens. You have to actually design individual plans that scale to the need of the people who need them. If you did that, you'd actually probably get more people in these marketplace exchanges because the premium burden would be lower.
Okay, so that's obviously Representative Byron Donalds, who's a Republican and a Florida gubernatorial candidate, and a good friend of Donald Trump, and has spoken up for Donald Trump on many occasions. And a lot of times it's just a word salad sandwich. That was CNN with Laura Coates interviewing Byron Donalds regarding medical care coverage and how the Affordable Care Act affects that. So he decided to say, replace it with what? Laura Coates said, replace it with what? Now, if you're running for governor and you're friends with Trump and you're in the game, so to speak, politically, you would expect that person to have an answer to replace it with what. Instead, he goes into how the regulatory rules are what really is the problem. The regulatory rules, first of all, did not allow people to get whatever procedure they wanted. What happened was the regulatory rules were almost like mandatory car insurance, where you have to pay for your car insurance. And if you were very poor and you didn't have a lot of money, well, you didn't have to pay a lot for Obamacare. That's the way it was designed. But what they wanted to do was they wanted to do away with people who had no insurance and no health insurance going into emergency rooms, going into hospitals, going for medical visits, and then getting a bill and not being able to pay it. So eventually the taxpayers in some form, in some state, not so much federally, had to pay those bills because they were not getting paid. So part of Obamacare was you can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan. And I know that wasn't exactly how it turned out, but that's part of the plan. And then Donaldson starts talking about young people not wanting to get the coverage. That doesn't make any sense. First of all, most young people, or a lot of them, stay on their parents' insurance because they're part of a family until they move out. Now, you can only stay on your parents' insurance until you're 26, as most of you know. And at that point, you're going to have to make a decision. But that's not the young people that he was talking about. And by the way, young people, they don't use their medical coverage as often as middle-aged and older people like myself. So he's trying to put a spin on it to make it seem like we need to, the Democrats fight for the medical subsidies that come from the government to help you with your medical coverage are going to end, and that they're going to end on December 31st. So the reason that the Democrats have now decided to not vote for the continuing resolution, and as a result the government shuts down, well, that's on Mike Johnson and the Republicans, because they know that they are not going to come back to the table. And if we pay the bills, and it's not all the bills, that they're going to have to come back to the table. And then Mike Johnson decides to let Pete Hegseth take funds from the Department of Defense that are for research and pay the military. Now, I'm glad the military, I love the military, a lot of military friends, I support them 100%, and I can't believe they got thrown into this in a political way. So $8 billion was moved from the Research and Development Fund at the Pentagon, and it was used, about 7.4 billion of it was used to make sure that the military personnel were paid. They're also working on some issues where some police departments are not getting paid, and they're working without, getting a paycheck. So they're working on finding some funds to pay them. But what happens next month? What happens 2 weeks from now if you get paid biweekly? We're going to have to come up with that same $8 billion. Some people have said that their opinion is that it was illegal because Congress holds the purse strings, and when Congress decides to okay a budget, and that money's budgeted for research and development, that was allocated by Congress. That was not allocated by Pete Hegseth or the Department of Defense, which I think now he calls the Department of War. I don't know where they're going with that, going back to Department of War, but it's I guess it's part of the bravado that they're engaging in. So we're not even sure if it was within the rights of the Secretary of Defense to move those funds, even though they were allocated and voted on by the Congress. And I guess we can go to the next clip.
Something amazing and unprecedented is going to happen in this country, the United States of America, this upcoming Saturday, October 18th. This upcoming Saturday, October 18th, will be the largest peacetime protest in American history. Think about that for a minute. This upcoming Saturday, October 18th, millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of Americans will organically take to the streets. In some 4,000 neighborhoods, towns, and cities around America to just reaffirm that basic American principle that this country was founded upon. No kings. Not here. Not in America.
So that was Joe Walsh, a good friend of the show. He's been interviewed by Brian many times. A former Republican who decided to become a Democrat. All indications point to Joe Walsh running in the presidential race in 2028 as a Democrat. He considered himself center-left. He sees a lot of views that he agrees with on the Democratic side, and he agrees with some of the Republican views. And so I would say there's a good chance Joe Walsh will come on the show again because he is good friends with Brian. And maybe on the other side of this No Kings Day rally, we can get his take and kind of see what he thought of the actual rally. And keep in mind, this should be in several cities, counties, streets, and we are encouraging anyone who's listening or anyone who has, is influenced by what people say on social media or the news, that it'll be a peaceful protest. Make your point, hold your signs, Political violence is not acceptable in any form. And so we're hoping for a peaceful protest, and let's just, say a prayer that it remains peaceful. Moving on to a next quick subject. As you know, Speaker Mike Johnson gave the House of Representatives another week vacation. So it's been 20-something days since they've been in session, and they need to go back and they need to do their job. Some people, he says it's because there's no reason, and he doesn't have a strategy for moving forward to reopen the Congress. But the real reason, some people believe, is because of Adelita Grijalva. She won the congressional seat and has been confirmed by her state as the next congresswoman. And if I mispronounce that name, let me know. And she's been confirmed, and they're waiting. In her state, they're waiting for the Congress to confirm her so she can take her seat. There's 217 votes to release the Epstein files. She, as already said, she'd be the 218th vote. So again, it looks like maybe Mike Johnson and some of the power players over there in the Congress are trying to keep the Epstein files secret. And a lot of things that have happened lately could possibly be a distraction. And it seems like Mike Johnson is going to hold firm. The record, I believe, for the most days in a row that the Congress was closed, I want to say is 34 or so. And most politicians are predicting we're going to break that record. Chuck Schumer, love him, nice guy. He's done a great job over the years, but it's my opinion, and you can always call in with your opinion. I think Chuck Schumer is the old guard, and I think we need to find a way to have him move aside and get some new energy in there, maybe some young energy. It's not really about age. It's just about new energy, new ideas, new progress, how to move forward. And that just happens to be, my opinion. We need to get some new blood in there. The Democrats need to move on and get into 2025, 2026 mode and stop living so much in the past where it's safe and the institutions are already built and the money's already allocated, because those days are over. It doesn't matter where the money's allocated. It doesn't matter how long the institution's been around. If Donald Trump decides that he wants to take it down, he will. The Trump administration just fired 4,100 federal employees. And that's 4,100 people with families just like you and I. They have a mortgage, they have car payments, they have health insurance, they have children in school and colleges. And can you imagine working for 10 or 15 or 20 years for the federal government and being a reliable, solid person? And just having that go up in smoke in one day. And then Trump said Friday he's going to report which Dem programs he's going to cut. So he's saying he's going to cut Democratic programs that have been around that they either wanted to get rid of or always wanted to get rid of. And at this point, he's not saying which Dem programs he's going to get rid of. He's just saying he'll let us know Friday. So that's that's not good for the country. Once again, is that the best thing for America? Moving on. 1 second there. So we're going to open the phone lines in a little bit. The number to call in is 702-221-7283. Call in. You may have to call more than once. It looks like the phone lines are filling up pretty quickly. So my guess is there's a lot of people out there who have a lot to say today, and they really want to get it off their chest, or they want a perspective, or they want to ask a question. So we're encouraging people to call, and we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Well, we got through that segment with the help of my good friend Numchuck. It looks like it's time to take some calls. Don't forget, if you want to call in, 702-221-7283. That's 702-221-7283. Go ahead and call the show. You may have to call back more than once. It looks like the phone lines are pretty full right now. We have people standing by, but we're going to do our best. Numchuck and I are going to do our best to try to get to everyone. So let's start with the first caller. The first caller is Alexa. Hi, Alexa. How you doing?
Hello. How are you?
Oh, good. This is my first day, and I hope I'm keeping it interesting for everyone.
Well, I say I would call in, and I am on Medicaid, and I am on disability. I cannot afford to buy my medical insurance, and I have preconditions, major preconditions that my family can't pay for, so they put them in bad situation. So I wonder how people expect me to be able to pay for my medical insurance.
Well, I don't, and thank you for calling in, Alexa, and I know you're a regular watcher, so we appreciate that. But I don't think the Republican side, in my opinion, I don't think they care. I think it's just, well, they should have planned better, or they should have been rich like me, or they should have been a venture capitalist like me. And so I'm sorry to hear about your condition. It sounds like you have multiple issues, and we'll say a prayer for you that you're feeling better and getting better. But I don't think anyone really cares. But how would it affect you, Alexa, if these subsidies go away like the Republicans want on December 31st? How badly would that affect you?
How people expect me to be able to pay for my medical
Is the radio on? You got to turn your radio off, Alexa. We got some radio echo in the background.
Okay.
That's okay. Take your time.
Well, I really appreciate, everybody understanding, but they have to realize I'm a human being first before I'm a number or I'm a disability. My name is Alexa, and remember, we all are human beings first.
I agree. And, and a lot of these Republicans, if not all of them, claim to be Christians, and they're Christian nationalists. And I always ask Brian, I say, if they read the Bible, if they're claiming they're a Christian, did they not read the part about helping the sick and about helping the poor and about having some love and some empathy and some caring and compassion for the people who have been stricken with disease or are not poor enough to feed themselves? Did they miss that part? Are they really Christians? Because those are Christian values. Those are the principles that Christianity is built on. Remember, Christ was talking about love and caring and peace and love thy neighbor. What happened to that? And when you have politicians lying openly on TV, is that not bearing false witness against your neighbor?
Yes, it is.
You know what I'm saying, Alexa?
Yes, I grew up in the church. This is not the church I grew up in. Nothing is like this, ever.
Well, I hope you're able to get some help, either publicly or from your family, and I hope that you're able to take care of yourself. And we really appreciate you calling in. You should call in more often.
All right, thank you. You're doing a wonderful job.
Okay, we're going to go to line 6. Kim, we'll go to line 6. Hi, Kim. You there? Hello?
Hey, Leonard. Great job today. How are you?
Oh,
yeah,
good.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
It's a little intimidating, first time. And
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Sorry. I'm on my phone, so I had to switch back and forth to YouTube. How you doing? Great job today. Great job, Alexa. So when he was talking about the cuts to the quote Democratic programs, I've mentioned this before on the show. Like Alexa, my son is disabled, has Medicaid and Medicare, and also has subsidized programs through Medicaid that help him become a productive member of society. So throughout the year, I've been getting updates from them. I just got my updates for the new payments for Medicaid and even for my Medicare and my supplemental insurance, which has gone up considerably.
Yes.
For next year. That's if this budget goes through. I think it'll go up even higher. But I think what he's talking about with these Democratic cuts are programs. That's my feeling. So the program that my son is on is called DDD, Department of Developmental Disabilities. We've already been told by the department. So my son gets a stipend per year, depending upon his evaluation with the with the company. Okay, so he gets $45,000 a year through Medicaid for subsidized programs to help him become a better member of society.
Okay.
Now, with any autistic adult, sometimes it's hard to get them to do things right away on a schedule. That money does not roll over. It's either spent during the year or it's gone and it goes back into the supply chain. So we were all told that by May of next year, 2026, because of this big, beautiful bill, if we don't at least spend 3/4 of our budget during the audit that they were told they are going to get from the government, from Trump, that kids that are on this program, that qualify for this program, will be cut. Completely cut off.
Can I ask you something, Kim? And you know, if you don't want to answer, it's a personal question, and
no.
You obviously don't have to answer. But if those subsidies are retracted, I mean, what would it be devastating to your family? I mean, what would be the effects?
Okay, so right now my son has been on it for 1 year. In that 1 year, the only thing he's used it for is transportation because he does not drive. So they provide a Lyft service for him so he can independently go to the doctor himself. He's 22 years old. He has moderate autism. He did use it for some online classes. Those was not successful. Come January, he is looking to enter community college, which they will pay for. But they pay for a variety of services for these kids to, in time, become productive members of society. They will provide job coaching. They will provide shadowing in jobs. They will provide schooling, whether it be occupational kind of or labor type of schooling or college.
Right. So suffice to say, if those subsidies are not there, if you didn't receive that money,
yes,
it would be destructive to your family as a whole. And I don't understand, and I don't mind saying, Kim, I don't understand how these people can be so soulless and so callous and hardened and take away programs that they know people cannot handle without those subsidies. And I think it's disgraceful. I think it's un-American. I'll say it.
I agree with you 100%. My gut feeling, and I've always had it with Trump. And listen, you grew up in New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey all my life. I've known what Trump is.
Where'd you grow up?
Since the 70s. I'm in Bergen County. I'm right near Patterson.
I was born in Newark, but I was on the wrestling team.
You're in Newark.
And I wrestled in Bergen County when I was in high school several times.
Okay.
Wrestling team.
Yeah. Yeah. So, listen, I've known Trump as a shyster since the 1970s. Yes. He cares nothing about anybody else but himself and those wealthy friends that he has. My feeling since he's got into office, even the first time, not so much the first time, but I saw it coming, and now, I don't want to call him the N-word, but what I see him doing is destroying seniors, veterans, the disabled, the poor, the homeless, the drug addicted, anybody lower than him in society. He is slowly killing us.
Is that Christian?
So we
I don't know if you've read the Bible. I don't know what your religion is, but doesn't it explain all of that in the Bible? Doesn't it clearly point out what a Christian is?
It clearly does. It
It's
clearly
in
does.
clear
He is
terms.
not
Like,
a
it's
Christian.
not. There's parables and there's hyperbole and there's poems and there's stories, but a greater majority of it just says this is what it means to be a Christian, and it doesn't say if someone is in need or they're mentally disabled or they're crippled that you have to just walk away and say, oh well. I never read that in the Bible.
No, it's not there, and it never will be there. And those people that I see on the other side, and listen, my husband is from Virginia, so he grew up in that very Christian type of household where they believed that everything was word, but they couldn't
fundamental,
live it,
right?
You know, yeah, they couldn't live it, and it was hypocritical to me. I was brought up Catholic, but do I believe everything they tell me? Absolutely not, because it logically makes no sense.
But the basis for the Christianity remains the same, regardless of what you call it. Correct?
Exactly.
Well, you know what, Kim,
love thy neighbor, take care of everybody.
I appreciate you calling. It was a good phone call. Please call in again. We'll pray for your son and hang in there and believe that somehow, and I can't prognosticate how, but somehow believe that things are going to be okay. They're going to work out.
I agree.
Have a good day. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Leonard.
We're going to line one. Polly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, just having some fun, taking some phone calls.
Yeah, I was just calling in. Are you guys debating the ACA and the subsidies they're trying to take away?
Well, we're not really debating it. I mean, you're welcome to debate it if you want. What we were doing is we started with a clip of Laura Coates interviewing Byron Donaldson on CNN, who's a Republican gubernatorial candidate in Florida, and that led to the ACA discussion and the Obamacare, because
Gotcha.
Byron Donaldson was trying to peddle some information on CNN that was not entirely accurate, and we're trying to clarify it so people understand what's really at stake.
Correct. I took advantage of the ACA when the law went into effect. I had a hysterectomy, and the doctor severed one of my ureters and it went on for a week, and I went sepsis and all that and had to have multiple surgeries, so on and so on. And I'm a farm girl from Kansas, and my mother was getting ready to sell off our family farm for my care, and that law got passed and it went into effect, and I was able to take advantage of it. And along with all of my Republican friends eventually took advantage of it. My brother, who's a farmer, took advantage of it.
Many did.
And would turn around and vote against their own interests. And so now it's all coming down, and half of the farmers take advantage of that. So
well, you know what you are, Polly? Sorry to interrupt you. You know what you are? You're an example of how it's supposed to work. And when these Republicans start talking these word salad sandwiches that make no sense and say, no, the Dems want it for immigrants and they want to give it to illegals. No. You are a classic American.
No.
You live in the Rust Belt, Sun Belt. That's the middle of America.
Yes. And I didn't want this. Okay. And what happened was I sued the doctor for malpractice and I lost. So by the time I tried to get disability, my Social Security disability, I had not worked 5 of the 10 years. And so I was denied that. So I had to go back to work. Thank God I got my old job back working for an importer out of New York City so I could work for myself, but I still needed that insurance. And it took me, and I still wasn't able to, make enough income to support myself, but because I was so sick, had multiple surgeries after it, so I got screwed double with that. And then all my Republican friends, they knew of my situation, and they work for themselves. One's a stockbroker, one's a farmer. They're all independent businessmen. They all took advantage of that health insurance.
Polly,
and turned around and voted
as many
for Trump.
Republicans as there are Democrats who have benefited from that program. But let me ask you something.
Yes.
If in the big, beautiful bill, those subsidies are going to get cut, Medicare,
I'm
Medicaid,
scared to death.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Not only yourself. You sound like you're pretty familiar with how it works. But what about all the millions of families that are going to lose their medical coverage? The 15 million families and the other 7 million that'll have coverage but can't afford to pay the premiums. What is that going to do to their families? What are the Republicans doing to their families?
They are going to go bankrupt, or they will go without health insurance. Right now, I get $1,000 subsidy a month. The health insurance that I need the highest level of care. And because I could be hospitalized with sepsis at any time, I have to be on an antibiotic for the rest of my life, twice a day. I've been hoarding my antibiotic in case I lose my insurance. I will not be able to afford it.
Sounds like you were able to overcome, and thank God you got your job back. And just remember, what I tell everybody is to. This is what I think. I'm sorry,
I work for an importer, and we import everything from China. We just put a 30% tariff on our goods.
Right, and so why don't you clarify, Polly, while you're on there? You know who pays that tariff? When that tariff goes on these goods that you import, who pays that?
My customers.
That's exactly right, because the owner has to pay that 30%. But then that owner is going to raise the prices, correct?
Yes, and guess what? My business is down because of those tariffs. Of
course it is.
Trump imposed tariffs the first term, and he did it on my Christmas trees and my lights, and to this day I can't sell them.
Well, they say children's toys are going to be.
My brother,
they say children's toys are going to be hard to get this Christmas.
It's going to be terrible. Christmas is going to be expensive. Everything
Polly, I'm
is.
going to go ahead and cut you off. I'm going to get to another caller, but that was a
Thanks
great
for taking my call.
I appreciate the information, and you were very helpful. Thank you. Have a great day. Let's go to caller 3, Pez. Pez as in Pez dispenser? Okay. Go. How are you, Pez?
Leonard, you look so comfortable up there. I bet you're making Brian nervous as he's watching you, man.
Now, you know what? Brian's got nothing to worry about. He could keep up with anybody. I'm trying to get through this. I mean, the thing is, we have, the audience, the live chat. It's almost like a family, and they're very supportive, very close to one another. We all seem to be on the same page. We like reality. We like facts. We like common sense. And it seems like we have that in common. There's a few people in the live chat that, like to cause problems, but we handle that, very easily. But thank you for the compliment.
Oh yeah, well, I'll consider myself a stepson now that you say we're a family. So,
well,
I just wanted to touch on a couple of little things that happened probably since you got in the office. Number one, a federal judge halted the planned layoffs of federal workers.
Yes.
Now, she was appointed by Clinton, and of course, they'll throw that out there, but they've had many setbacks by Trump-appointed judges, so that's really not any kind of flack to them.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Trump administration doesn't really pay attention to those losses. They appeal it. They want it to get to the Supreme Court, and they've been blocked on so many different types of issues. But I think Trump does it because that's just his nature, and he doesn't really care about people. He only cares about maybe 38% of America, because about 38% of America give him an approval rating. That's mostly the MAGAs. But he doesn't care about the other 62%. He doesn't care about the rest of America. And will that hurt him eventually? I don't know. Let me ask you, Pez, do you think that Trump will allow elections during the midterms?
I think there might be some snafus there, but I think even some of the sycophant Republicans are not going to want to interfere with the election process, especially the old guard. I would probably also interject, Leonard. I think he only cares about the people that write him multi-million-dollar checks. I think those other people are just sheep. He just likes their support. He needs their voting bloc. But eventually, I don't think he really cares about his base. You've seen many, many instances that probably 90% of his base he would never even let in Mar-a-Lago.
Did you see the rally, Pez, before Trump was elected? Did you see the rally where he actually said to the people, you know what? I don't even really need your vote. I don't really care. I don't really want you guys to support me. And he said that at his rally to his people. And you know what they did, Pez? These people voted for him anyway. What do you make of that?
Well, and I've mentioned this before on the show, but I'll reiterate. What you're seeing when they encapsulate and capture that vote is the GOP Southern strategy, which you and I know is basically racially based, has been just taken on the road. It's not just in the South anymore. And I think psychologists are going to probably study for many, many years what makes a seemingly normal, sane person, all keywords, vote against their own best interests. And I would
I've
tell
been
you
saying
that.
that for years, and I know in the live chat yesterday, somebody asked me about how it was in the police department politically. And remember, I was a union president. So I was a Democrat, and I had to meet with Democrats and try to get them to protect collective bargaining and our retirement and our heart and lung. And do you know that for all the years that I was a lobbyist in Nevada, that the Republicans never voted to support anything that the police wanted? And we live by collective bargaining. That is our workers' contract. That is our rights. That is our pay scale. That is our medical. And do you know that the Republicans, but the strangest part is 75 to 80% of the department, if not my membership, were conservative Republicans at the time. And they would vote consistently because they would bring up guns and gun rights or something silly like that doesn't relate to what they're doing and how they're getting paid. And like you just said, they voted against their own best self-interest. And I can honestly say that I had many long conversations, and they just didn't see it my way. They just wanted to vote the way. But thank you for the call, Pez. We appreciate it. Always good talking to you. And now we're going to go to line 5, and line 5 is Joey. How you doing, Joey? Bit of a hold today. A lot of people calling in, but go ahead.
All right. I can't hear, though.
You can't hear me?
I can't hear the show.
Go ahead. You can hear.
Normally I hear it on the radio. I mean, on the phone.
Do you have your phone muted?
On the radio. I mean, on the phone. Now I'm on the radio.
I can hear the radio in the background. Oh. Oh, okay. All right. So let's go to caller 6. It looks like he's been waiting. Let's go to Dave. Hey, Dave. How are you? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Leonard? Thanks for taking my call. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, Dave.
Okay, so when people say they can't hear you, is because it's basically that's how it's supposed to. That's how it is. It's basically dead until you pick up the phone and answer it. So it's going to have
two
to be
things
that way.
going on at once. I get you.
Yeah, it's going to be like that for a long time. So it's not going to change. So I am just so frustrated with this administration. When he says, I'll tell you one thing, America was great before he showed up. You know what I'm saying? So the problem is that some of these people that say that they're Christians, and you're saying that, what is a Christian? Well, a person is, because I went to, I'm not religious, but I went to Bible college for 5 years. It was like about $8,000. It was $8,000 to go to Bible college.
So you know the Bible fairly well.
Oh yeah. And you once you learn it, and once you go to school, like you dissect word for word in what it means.
Well, let me interrupt you real quick.
It was hard. It was
Dave,
really
let me ask you
hard.
a question. Is there any part in the Bible that you learned about that says, hey, if somebody happens to be mentally ill or sick or poor, that, oh, well, too bad for them. They should have been a venture capitalist like my family. Does that say that in the Bible anywhere?
No. Well, that's the hypocrisy. When Jesus accused of hypocrisy, he was saying that a lot of people say that, they're Christians and all this kind of stuff. Well, he basically said that you honor me with your lips, but your heart is far from me. That's what it means. That's a strain of gnat. Basically, he swallowed a camel. So these people that say that they're a Christian and they basically they honor him with his lips, but their heart is far from him. It means that they basically practice practice things in the flesh, but they really don't walk. They don't walk the walk and talk the talk. You follow me?
Right, and they're not supposed to idolize people. And let me ask you something, because a caller called in last week talking about morality and immorality, and I asked the caller, I said, is it immoral to worship someone who's immoral? Because this guy was on the show he called in and he was trying to say, push Christianity and talk about things that are immoral, and he was a Trump supporter. So I asked him, and I'll ask you, does anywhere in the Bible does it say that it's acceptable to worship an immoral person?
No, because remember back in the Old Testament that they were idolizing, they were trying to idolize and worshiping the idols and so forth, and it says you can't serve many gods, but you only can serve one. You know,
Do you
which
think
is
maybe
his
they
son.
didn't
So-
read that part, or what do you think? They didn't
Well, they
understand
they missed it because they basically were hypocrites. It's like saying the majority of people say that they believe in church, they believe in Christ, and all this kind of stuff are the ones of the hypocrites because they basically go to the bars, they drink, they smoke they smoke where nobody else sees them smoking, which is what you might think is judgmental. So they do things behind people's back, and they're a bunch of hypocrites. They were, like I say, you worship me with your lips, but your heart is far from me, meaning that you do things behind closed doors that nobody else sees, but I see it. So they're basically hypocrites. And the ones that say they're against abortion and all this kind of stuff and so forth, they don't go to church. The vast majority of people that say they go to church and they believe
Let me just say something on that,
Go
Dave.
ahead.
Let me interrupt you because when they talk about abortion, they're not pro-life. They need to get rid of that. They're pro-birth. They want the child to be born. But as soon as that child is born, guess what? No help with programs for mothers who can't afford to feed their children. They don't like the WIC program. They don't like the CHIN program. They don't like serving lunches in schools to children who are hungry. There's a lot of children in this country. Something like 65% of children in this country get their best meal of the week at school, not on the weekend, not at night. And they took those away. And the big, beautiful bill gets rid of them. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that is just basically disgusting that you can take away families' kids, who are having free lunches, who basically they need their lunches in the morning or breakfast, to tie them down until dinner when they come home, when their family comes home. By taking away food, benefits like that from their kids, and because their parents don't have enough money to feed their kids, they rely on those type of social benefits. You know what I'm saying? And having these, these Republicans that basically say that they believe in, serving out the, basically being a good Samaritan or parables that illustrate compassion. They don't have compassion.
Yeah.
That you can't say,
They don't care.
You can't practice hospitality. You can't practice hospitality and welcome good strangers or those in your community if you're basically taking away social benefits. You say you believe in the Bible because you're basically taking hospitality, benefits from people that need to survive in this world.
Words of wisdom, Dave. Those are words of wisdom.
It's just sad, Leonard, and it makes me cry every single day when I see this, that they're basically, and these people that voted for them, they have, and then all of a sudden they're crying because now 100% of the people that, what's your name, Senator Green in her state, did you see that? About 100%.
She's trying to act like she saw the light. She's trying to, Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to act like, oh yeah, this is so wrong and so terrible. But I'm actually one of the few people that's not buying it. But what about the WIC program, Dave? What about WIC? WIC is women, infants, and children. You know what that is?
Watch this.
Yeah. That's milk. That's food for the children.
That's food.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's formula and milk for the kids who are no longer on formula, and they want to take that away. Who does that? What kind of people look at that program and say, no, they're going to have to do that for a living and say, well,
you know why?
They're already poor. They can't afford it.
Leonard, let me make my last point, and I appreciate you for taking my call. But here's the biggest kicker of all. They did a big old graph on the Abby Phillips show about what state, are the ones that do the Affordable Care Act, the ones that are in the Affordable Care Act.
Go ahead, I know what you're saying.
They said, you're right, you probably saw the map. That map shows that her state is 100% of the people that voted for her, that they're the ones that are on the Affordable Care Act. So she's afraid that now she's basically scared that the people that are on Affordable Care Act are going to lose their benefits, that they're going to turn against her and not vote for her, and she's going to lose her seat. And that's why she's turning the other cheek and trying to be nice.
Is she really worried about those people? Is she really concerned?
Oh, hell no.
Making sure that she gets elected again.
Just to get elected, hell to the no. She basically, once she gets elected, you think she's going to give a damn, a damn about those people? Once she gets she'll flip right back to her old bad habits, and then she'll do the same thing over and over again. I think what people should do is that once you vote her out, do not bring them back in again ever. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Good phone call, Dave. Very good phone call. Great talking to you. Thanks again. And now we're going to go to line 2. We're going to line 2, Kim. Hi, Kim. Are you there? I think your radio's on.
Oh, okay, it's fine.
Hi.
I'm listening to you guys. Hey.
Okay, go ahead. I think the radio's off. Go ahead, Kim. What's on your mind?
Hey, how are you, Leonard?
Oh, I'm having a blast. I'm trying to get through this the best I can, and all I can do is thank everybody for the support and for being patient with me while I kind of muddle through the rundown and get to all the things that we need to get to. Thank you for your support.
Job. You're doing a great job. Doing a great job.
Thank you,
Hey,
Kim.
give me just a couple minutes. I wanted to tell everybody. There's a gentleman named Hawk. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's independent. He's on YouTube and on, I believe, TikTok. I don't do TikTok, so I know that he's talked about TikTok being on there. But he showed a 3 to 4 page leaked memo that Trump put out in the last couple of days about those of us who are planning on doing the No Kings protest on Saturday.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, but Trump has made it clear that he's going to have military there and he's not going to tolerate
And-
burning buildings and anarchy. But that is not that. You know what that is? That is just a red herring. That is something that's fake, and there is no intent that I know of on anyone going there. They want to make sure that America stays a democracy and a republic. They want to make sure it's not a monarchy and that there's not a dictator. They don't want to have a country where the authoritarian government brings us back to draconian beliefs. And that's what the protest is about. And we on this show are encouraging everyone to be peaceful. Make your point, bring your signs, no violence, no burning buildings, no fighting. But if you had a guess, who would escalate this? Who do you think, Kim, who do you think is going to escalate this if it escalates?
It's going to be them. They're going to put people in. It's going to put people inside the protest to do it. And also they have, I guess, put all the police force on every state on alert to watch for it. And also, do you know that they have gotten everybody they've got a list of everybody that voted for Harris, and they're watching us. And not only that, Leonard, they are watching every liberal that has guns, and they go to gun range, and they are calling us terrorists, and they're watching us, and they are calling everybody that is going to this to our protest on Saturday.
Well, you know what
They're
I
calling
say.
us terrorists.
You know what I say, Kim. I tell
They
people.
call me a terrorist.
I tell them 3 simple things: get informed, stay informed,
Exactly.
spread the word. Because people say to me all the time, "What can we do?" I feel like I said, "Get informed, stay informed, spread the word." Because if you're informed, then you know what's really going on, and you can't be okey-doked by people who are politicians who have these word salad sandwiches and try to make it seem like hate is okay and oppression is okay. And you remember, we came from tyranny, oppression. That's where we came from. That's why we left. We had King George III was the king at the time, and we didn't like the way he was treating us, and we had no rights and no due process. We had no voice in our own taxation, and we decided that we were going to go make our own country. Now we have a country. Now it's time to stand up. That's what I would say.
Let me tell you something, Leonard. I am 67 years old. Right now, I have a hernia, and my bowels are coming through it. I am going drive 2 hours away from where I live, because I live in West Virginia, and where they're having the protest, the march is in Charleston, and I'm 2 hours away from where I live. They don't have one, and I'm driving 2 hours away Saturday.
So you're going to.
And I'm in a lot of pain. But I am going to do it, even with my bowels coming through this.
That's very brave of you.
People need to understand we need to follow the rules. Don't let them bully us into
violence.
Getting violence. Absolutely. Stay cool. Stay cool and follow the rules, stay off the street, stay on the sidewalk.
Well, thank you, Kim. I have to get to some other calls, but thank you for the call. That was a great call. You made some good points, and please call into the show on the other side of the rally or the protest, whatever you want to call it, and let us know how it went. Okay. Thank you. Next, we're going to line 3, Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca. Are you there?
How it went, okay?
Rebecca?
Oh, hi, Leonard. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
You're doing a great job, by the way.
Thanks, Rebecca.
And I listen every day. I am a registered independent. I always lean left. I am going to the protests, but just to piggyback off the last caller, everybody stay cool. If there's going to be ICE or police there, don't antagonize them. And another good tip I was told is to take the biometrics off your phone. The face recognition, the thumbprint.
Oh,
Take it
well, most people, I guess they would have to look on Google on how to take the biometric off their phone.
Yeah, you can just go into your settings on your iPhone or your Android. It's really easy. I was able to figure it out, and I'm 53. But yeah, because I was told if you have that, the face recognition or the thumbprint, they are allowed to get into your phone.
That's good advice. And
I don't know all the details about it, but if you have a code, like a number you punch in, they cannot do that.
That's a good point. That's a great phone call because a lot of people are listening, and that sounds good. It sounds like really good advice. Now, if you go there, be careful. Take care of yourself. We appreciate you standing up for your country and being brave. And maybe you can call us on the other side when you come back and give us a firsthand account of what you actually saw.
Everybody be safe.
All right. Thank you for the phone
Take
call.
care.
Let's go to line 6. Jacob. Jacob, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, Jacob. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, it's first time calling. I listened to PTL for like maybe a few months ago. I love the show since then. I just want to say a shout out to my mom who passed her citizenship test.
Yay!
And I was like a full blown citizen.
Congratulations.
At the same time, I told her, to keep up, keep her paperwork on her with everything going on and so forth. Another thing is that during the ceremony, they played a video of Trump. And it's just so weird that he's saying all these things at the same time as U.S. citizens are being arrested.
So while she was at her test, taking her citizen's test, they showed a video of Trump doing what?
No, during the ceremony. After the test
and what was he doing? Was he just speaking to them, or
was
he asking for money?
Pre-recorded. No. Just a pre-recorded video about congratulations on passing the citizenship.
Right.
It's like a generic video.
So let me ask you, what is specifically her status? What is, now that she passed her tests, what is her status in America?
She is a full-blown citizen. She got a green card.
Does she have to renew? Is she required to renew?
No, she renewed her green card a couple of times before the full-blown citizen. Now she's a full U.S. citizen, social passport, all that.
And how long did the process take?
I don't know the exact details. I think she started like last year, but
you said she had previously had green cards. So approximately how many years has gone by?
She got her green card the first time, maybe like 10 years ago or so.
Wow. You stuck with it. 10 years is a long time.
Yeah. She from what I remember, she told me she sat on it, but with Trump coming into office, she decided to get a lawyer to speed the process up. And good thing she did.
Well, tell her from the show that we said congratulations, and if she has any issues or you have any issues, call in and let us know if it goes smoothly or if there's any issues. And thank you for the call.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, we're going to line 5. Joey. Hello, Hello, Joey. Are you there?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Joey. How's it going? What's on your mind? It's What's on Your Mind Wednesday.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
We're having issues with it through the radio station.
Thanks for taking the call, first of all.
Go ahead, Joey. What's on your mind?
The reason I'm calling, I wanted to ask you, you and Brian keep saying that Trump's a dictator and he wants to be the king. I want to ask you, did he ever defy the Constitution on the Supreme Court whenever they voted against him?
Did he ever defy the Constitution? Yes. He deported people to El Salvador, even though he was told not to. And matter of fact, the order was from the Court of Appeals. Was I don't know if it went to Supreme Court or not. Was for them to turn the plane around and bring them back. Is that what you're talking about? Are you still there, Joey? All I can hear is a radio in the background. Yeah, Joey, if you call back, turn your radio down so we can hear you. And we're going to move on to line 3, Paul. UK Paul. What's on your mind, Paul?
Say that again.
Good day, mate. Oh, wait, that's the wrong country. You're from London, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was born in London.
I'm
not living there now. I'm living near Cambridge, but I'm
that was
born in London.
Bad reference.
It's okay. Americans always think Australians sound like Brits and vice versa, but we really don't.
Okay, so yours would be, really would you like a spot of tea? How's that? That was pretty good, right?
It makes me laugh when Americans imitate the English accent.
Well, what do they call cigarettes? Isn't there a cool name for cigarettes?
No. Thanks.
Okay, but that's
thanks.
Okay. Never mind. We can't say that, so we're gonna have to.
Yeah, I know it's something different. I know that's different in America.
So, so what's on your mind today, Paul? How's it going in the UK?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. The thing on my mind, I don't want to keep you too long, Linda, because I know you're doing a great job on the radio.
I'm trying to get as many calls as we can.
And I think that's right. So just on this whole Nobel Peace Prize thing, which disgusts me, by the way, it's very simple. I'll tell you why, without going into all the terrible things he's done, why he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it because he wants it. Anybody who wants a Nobel Peace Prize means they're not doing the right thing for nothing. If you want to save lives, you do it because it's the right thing to do. If you want to bring peace, you do it because it's the right thing to do. If you want the Nobel Peace Prize, it means there's a price attached, which means if you don't get a price, it means you won't do those things.
Right.
And that is
like a fireman or a police officer doing something great, and then going to the department and saying, "Hey, can I get a Medal of Valor? Can I get?" You don't ask for your own.
Exactly.
A true hero would never ask for something like that. But while I'm on the phone, Paul, let me ask you about Prime Minister Starmer. He seems to be getting a lot more conservative and a lot more like a right, pretty far to the right, or is it just my perception?
He's becoming deeply unpopular. By most folks, and he is shifting to right, but he's under a certain amount of pressure because Farage is getting a degree of popularity, much like Trump does, and he feels he has to lean that way, and it's not doing him any favors. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
I mean, in the last election, I didn't vote for him, and I didn't vote for the other guy either.
Well, how many years does he have left? Because he's kind of just getting started, right?
Yeah, well, he's got. Hang on, but he's got. Hang on, every election every 4 years. A couple of years, I think he's got for the next general. I think it's a couple of years he's got. I'm in Britain, you can get kicked out before that as well. You've got to remember, in Britain, the Prime Minister doesn't have the same power as the President.
Well,
he's not the same. It's the closest we've got, but it's not the same.
Right. I was just wondering, between the digital ID and some of the, I guess you guys have to come up with a budget and some of the ideas. I just noticed him going, drifting pretty far right. He seems to like Trump a lot. He seems to like meeting with him and talking to him. So I was just curious, what you had thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's leaning like. When you say he likes Trump, he knows Trump's a pig. But the thing is, because we got out like fools, we went out the EU. We haven't got anybody to trade with properly. So America is his big hope.
Right, well, you know what? I really appreciate you calling in from United Kingdom.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You should encourage your friends and your family to call in. We love hearing from other countries, from Canada and Germany, and we've had people call in from all over the world. So stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon, Paul, okay?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Len. Good luck. Thank you.
Have a good day. All right, we're going to go to line 2, Lewis. Hello, Lewis. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Leonard? How you doing?
Good, good.
My apologies.
A little louder?
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just tuned in a little while ago, so I don't know what you guys were talking about, but there was something that was really bothering me, and I see this all the time. And I mean, the Democrats, they just drop the ball all the time. For example, I see Hakeem Jeffries. He's giving a press conference today about the shutdown, and he talks about and one of the things that they're always saying is he'll say something like, well, Trump during the campaign said that he was going to love and cherish Medicaid.
He did.
And then he did. But he stops right there. Hakeem Jeffries stops right there. Instead of just saying, look, this guy said he was not going to touch Medicaid for your vote. He lied to you guys. He should talk to the people who voted for him. He should be talking to the people who voted for him because they believed him when he said he wasn't going to touch Medicaid. But they need to come out and say also, he did this in order for you to vote for him. Just like he said that he was going to lower your grocery prices. He lied to you to get your vote. Once he got your vote, he threw you to the curb.
So what do you think the problem is, Louise? Why do you think Chuck Schumer sends a strongly worded letter? Hakeem Jeffries, who is a great orator, by the way, he gives a great speech. But at the end of the speech, you're kind of wondering, you're saying, okay, yeah, you kind of said, why didn't you call him out? What's the plan? What's next? How are you going to counter this? What are you going to do to protect people's medical coverage, the Affordable Care Act, Medicaid, Medicare? In other words, he's the leader. He's the leader. We can come out and say we got to stick together and we got to hold them accountable. And we should all, look at politics differently these days. And the Trump administration and Mike Johnson closed down the government. But what you're saying is kind of what I say. And I get beat up sometimes from my Democratic friends is where's the leadership? Where's the plan? Where's the 3-step plan? 4-step plan?
I don't understand it, but I mean, and also it almost seems to me like are these guys that dumb that they don't know how to talk to the American public? I mean, they need to really I think one of the most important points is he lied to you in order to get your vote.
Let me ask you this, Louis.
He cut you off.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe, number one question is, do you believe it's time for new leadership in the House of Representatives and in the Senate? And my second question is, if you believe it's time for a change in leadership, do you think those people who've been around forever, who've earned their spot, are going to step aside for new energy, new ideas, new leadership?
Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, it happened, if I'm not mistaken, it happened not too long ago when Nancy Pelosi saved, I think it was AOC that was running for a committee chair or something like that. And Nancy Pelosi stepped in and, she basically made sure that AOC didn't get it because it was somebody else's turn. And it was another one of these old
Lewis, unfortunately, great call. Good points. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people to get to. So I'm going to cut you off a little bit and thank you for the call. It was a great call. Okay, let's go to line 4. Let's go to Carl. Carl, are you there?
Oh, hey. Can you hear me?
Can you speak a little louder?
Can you hear me?
I got you. Go ahead.
Good. Yeah,
ahead,
listen, okay. Before I get to my point, I got a big news flash. A coalition of turkeys suing Time Magazine. I don't know if you know that. Did you see the new Time Magazine cover?
Were they jealous because Trump was sporting
neck
that?
Looks like a turkey
neck?
neck. Yeah. So a coalition of turkeys is suing Time. Well, I thought people would be interested in that. But
I don't know if he's.
What I really want
they're
to
going
talk.
to win that lawsuit because when you look at it, I'm not sure it looks so much like a turkey neck. I think it looks like a lot of other things. And there were some people on social media online, like one guy put a zipper on it and zipped it closed. One guy made a hot dog bun out of it. And so I don't know. They might lose that lawsuit because that's a pretty. What do you think of that turkey neck? It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it comes across like his brain.
Do you think it's sewn together at the bottom? I mean, how does it stay together like that? They wrap the collar around it and the two folds stay together. How do they do that?
I don't know. He's able to afford to take care of that. I'm sure he can find somebody to do it. But what I really wanted to talk about was when Trump was in Egypt the other day, and if you notice about him, he expressively says he loves the president of Egypt.
Yeah.
Like he does with all dictators. That's a psychological thing with him, that he loves dictators.
Yeah, and he's shaking people's hands, talking about this guy's got billions. He's got billions. You should see how much cash this guy has. And do you think that's a dog whistle? Kind of sounded like a dog whistle to me.
Well, but the thing is, it's his love of dictators is what it is. And anybody in any office, he admires them terribly because deep down in him, that's what he is, and that's what he wants to be, and that's what he wants to end up controlling like a dictator. And he's very frustrated that he can't do it 100%.
Well,
I think
he's not giving up anytime soon, and let's hope that he's unsuccessful in his tasks. And thank you for the call. And we got to move on, but thank you for the call. Good call. We're going to line 1, Frank. Frank, what's on your mind?
Hi, Governor. It's Frank. I have, I can understand how the Republican Party or their supporters can't figure out all these things that are cutting away is going to cut into their life and what they need. And I just can't understand that. Why would they not help protest for our rights to be restored?
Well, you know what I noticed, and I will compare this a bit to 1933, the Hitler era. And if you remember, if you go back in time through history, you notice that a lot of dictators, they have a large segment of the population that is angry, maybe angry about the government, or not having enough money, or not having enough rights, or not having enough medical coverage, or enough money to pay their bills. And they're angry for years and years and years. And then you have this charismatic leader that comes along like a Trump, and he tells those people, he points and he says, you know who's to blame? Those people are to blame, not you. You're not to blame. It's not your fault, but it's those. And he gives them someone to hate. And it seems to me like the MAGAs, once the racism and the hatred, not all of them, but once the racism and the hatred kicks in and they really decide that a group of people are responsible for their lot in life, for their lack of money, for them not being able to get the jobs they want, are those people, and they're going to do everything they can. So you have to realize that 75% of Republicans are on social programs. 75% of Republicans receive help from the government, and yet they support a president who wants to cut those programs. Tell me, does that make any sense to you?
No. And did you hear, I know you can't see every vlog on YouTube, but did you see the Macri thing that he found out that the young Republicans leaked text messages?
Yes, that's
about
all over
Hitler.
the news. And
oh my God,
what you're talking about is the young Republicans. They got a hold of, I don't know, a few thousand messages, and there was a lot of hate speech and racism, and there was a lot of things that lacked compassion and talking terribly about groups of people. And now it's exposed.
Yep, they are what they are, and you know what? I don't think they're going to change. There's no way you can change once you hate, because that's hard. Love is easy. Hate is an easy thing to do that and hate everybody.
Well, I agree with you, and thank you for the call. And
thank you, Leonard.
Call in anytime.
You have a good one.
Thank you.
You take care.
You. Let's go to line 2. Berta, what's on your mind?
Leonard.
Yes.
Hey, you're doing a good job. But don't you think it's a bad thing for immigrants to get social programs and take away from
Well, you
mothers
got to tell me,
and
Berta. You got to
families
qualify that. When you say immigrants are receiving social programs, are you talking about immigrants that are here and are legal citizens? Like we had a caller and his mom just took the test and became a citizen. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about undocumented. They get social programs. They get food stamps. They get checks every month.
Are you talking about legal or illegal?
Huh?
Are you talking about legal aliens or illegal?
Illegal.
No, that's not correct.
Yes, it is.
It's against the law for them to receive
I
Medicare
have
and Medicaid.
proof that is true.
Now, I have to say, Berta, that in any country with 335 million people, you can probably find a couple of examples.
Leonard, you are wrong. I'm telling you, you are wrong.
How many people are you talking about?
I don't know how many people. 20 million? I don't know.
Well, I'm going to tell you what my position. And my position is,
What is it?
if they're not entitled to it, and the law doesn't allow them to get the public assistance
How
for medical
do you know
coverage,
the law
then
doesn't
they should
allow
not.
it?
I'm not saying they don't slip through the cracks. I'm saying they should not have it. But my position is also that if they become citizens of the United States, that they are entitled to everything that a citizen is entitled to do. By the way, if an immigrant is illegal and they go to the hospital and they're dying and they're not going to live, I think it's evil for people to turn them away and not give the care that they need. So there are some people who are going to need the care.
Of course that should be. But I'm talking about people out here with children and their families can't make it. And so, and all these illegal.
Okay, well, I'm going to interrupt you. Let me ask you this, Berta. Is it fair? We've had immigrants in this country in the millions for decades. Okay, that's a fact. They're here illegally.
Okay.
Many of them work. Many of them are hardworking, good grandpas and dads and moms and grandmas and sons and daughters. And let me finish. Let me ask you a question. Let me finish. So they work. Did you know that if they work for, let's say, 20 or 30 years and they pay their taxes, did you know that even though they're paying taxes into the system for 20 or 30 years, they're not entitled to Social Security and they're not entitled to anything that those taxes grant? Is that fair? Because that's already happened.
How would they? Okay. How can they pay taxes without a Social Security number?
I'm telling you that they pay taxes and they're not entitled to Social Security. That's a fact. I mean, you can look it up yourself if you want to.
How is that possible? I'm asking you.
It's just
how
what
is
happened
that
was
possible?
it's the system. It's how the system and thank you for the call, by the way, Berta. We're running short on time and I need to get to. Oops, I need to get to a couple of more calls. Let me see in the super chat. I don't have the super chat up. Okay, it's Lori Villa. Oh, we did that one. Duke says, "Thank you, Leonard, for always being the voice of calm, intelligence, and reason." Thank you, Duke. I don't know if I'm always that, but I appreciate the compliment. And I think there was one more. That's it. Okay, let's move on to the next caller, and we're looking at line 3, Alvin. What's on your mind, Alvin? Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Is it true that Trump was exonerated for his 34 count felonies?
Can you repeat that? Can you speak a little louder? I didn't hear that.
Is it true that Trump was exonerated from his 34 count felonies and his rape conviction of his second wife?
Well, unless it happened in the last couple of hours while I was here at the radio station, not as far as I know. And who would exonerate him? Exoneration means that it never happened. So, you can get pardoned, but exonerated means it never happened. And who would exonerate him?
No, it happened. Would not be an impeachable Huh?
You're talking about the felonies? No, they were state charges, and impeachable acts are things like war crimes, crimes against humanity, bribery, sedition. Those are all, treason. Those are all impeachable offenses.
Well, someone's already accused him of treason. I think a governor has accused him of that, but I don't know. You got to have proof, I guess.
Well, I think that I think that unless it comes out on the news, I'm not aware of him being exonerated on anything. And what do you think about the people in this country that are supporting a 34-count felon and an adjudicated sexual abuser who owes millions of dollars to the victim, and then having 77 million people, even though they knew, go ahead and vote for him anyway? What do you think of that?
I think they're idiots. They're asinine. They don't know what the hell they're doing.
What do you think it is that makes people vote against their own best self-interest? What do you think that is?
I don't know.
It's hard to say, right?
Right.
Well, thank you for your call, and we really appreciate it. And we're going to go to line 1, and we're going to say to Brett, how are you, Brett?
Hey, what's up, Leonard? How are you? Good job today.
Oh, thank you. It's fun.
Hey, I just wanted to talk real quick about the woman talking about the undocumented immigrants getting all these social benefits. I mean, if they're undocumented, how are they finding these people to send them checks if they're undocumented?
They're
That's
not.
the first
It's a
question.
Mike Johnson talking point. That's what it is.
No, I get it, but the trouble is, Leonard, that there's way too many of these morons out there that believe this crap. And if she listens to her own words, undocumented, how are they getting? And the fact that she doesn't understand how people are paying into Social Security without receiving the benefits for it, it's called a deduction in their check.
That's exactly
Just because they don't
what
have
they
a
do.
number
And
doesn't
they
mean
have
that the
nothing
government
to
isn't
show
going to
for it.
take their number.
Not to interrupt you, Brett, but they have nothing to show for it at the end.
Yeah, there's people that pay in for 40, 50 years and get nothing. Nothing, because they don't have the correct paperwork, because they make it too expensive to go through the process. And God bless that man's mother that they finally got her citizenship, and he mentioned that she had to pay for a lawyer. I mean, you shouldn't have to go through all that. Why does it take 10 years?
I think the caller was probably heard of my impression was she heard of somebody who was a neighbor who got through the system, and she was saying, "Oh yeah, well I know people who were getting
a
paid."
friend of
and
a
maybe
friend
they,
of a friend, just like the COVID shit. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
335 million people. Don't you think, Brett, that maybe a couple, scam the system? I can see that happening, but that is it's still illegal. It's still against the law.
Yeah.
And she was trying to make the point that how is this
impossible. They got to be some kind of slick character, because I worked with these immigrants for 25 years. People with working papers and green cards, and they'd be living 10 and a half, and these people that are jealous of their situation, it's absolutely absurd. They're working their tails off, packed into a one-bedroom apartment, just for the chance for a better life. They are not taking anybody's position.
No, I agree.
They're working the jobs that we don't want to do.
Many of those types of people for many years, and all good people, all good family-oriented people. Thank you for the call, Brett.
Sure.
And
Thanks, Brett.
we're trying to get a couple
Thanks,
more
buddy.
in before the end of the day. Thanks for the call. Good call. Line 2, Jeff, you're on. Jeff, what's on your mind?
About the issue here. Before it used to be like, they would, right-wingers would complain about welfare queens, because they would get money from the government. And now it's illegals getting health care, benefits. But the real issue has been years and years of these lobbyists for these big corporations, these welfare king crony capitalisms, like Elon Musk, right? I mean, he's like the number one welfare king from the government. I mean, his billions are basically from the government.
Is corporate welfare, corporate subsidies that are paid for by taxes. And what about tax abatements? A tax abatement is when you open a company, and in order to bring you to a city or a state, they will agree to abate your taxes for 3 to 5 years just so you bring their business there. And they don't have to pay any taxes. And those same people that don't pay any taxes drive on our roads every day. They drive when it's dark. There's street lights, there's sidewalks. when they dial 911, police or fire or medical come? And how come they don't want to pay taxes, but they want to use all our services? What's going on with that?
Yeah, exactly. That was remember what's her name? With the glasses? I forgot.
Boebert?
No. Remember Massachusetts? She would complain about that the corporations they don't want to pay, they don't pay taxes, but they use all of the government services. Yeah, so that's the thing. I mean, we're talking billions, and even now trillions. That the corporate crony capitalism. I mean, that's the thing with Italy and like fascism, right? Is fascism is basically crony capitalism. Like they want the trains to run on time.
In part, it's based on having the people that are close to you and support you politically become rich. And but we're running close on time, and we really appreciate the call. And just before we move on to the next caller, 702-221-7283. If you want to call in, we're going to try to get a couple of more callers in, but we're getting down to the finish line. Let's go to line 4, and we're going to go to CJ. CJ, what's on your mind?
Hey, can you hear me first?
I can hear you just fine, CJ. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I had a couple of things, but one was about the Christians that are supporting the current president. Go to Amazon Books and type this into the search. Helgard, Helgard, Mueller, Muller. It's actually, I think, pronounced Mueller with 2 dots over the U if you know how to type those. If not, that's okay. And then either Donald Trump or Christ or whatever.
Well, let me ask you something.
The title of the book will blow
you're making
mind.
an assumption, CJ. You're making an assumption that they're going to see common sense and fact about Christianity, and they're going to read about what's real and logical in the world.
You only have to see the title of this book.
Well, let me. Thanks for the call, CJ. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of the show, so I'm going to have you call back. Call back tomorrow, and we can get into that more. Thanks for the call, CJ. All right. That was, thank you for joining me for one of my first experiences by myself. Hopefully I did Brian Shapiro, my very good friend Brian, a service by doing this and trying to do my best. Everybody was friendly and helpful, and I really appreciate that. Brian will be back in studio tomorrow. I am off tomorrow, and I'm sure he'll be here with lots of information, lots of questions, and be taking lots of calls. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. See you soon.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find